This is the news feed at 6.
Tragedy in Baltimore following a bridge collapse. Crews are still searching for survivors. We'll have the latest. And a Dallas mother is searching for answers following a double murder. Plus, a federal court has made a decision on SB 4's status pending legal proceedings. Thanks for joining us on the news feed at 6. I'm John Patterson.
And I'm Isabel Price. We have a lot to cover tonight, but first we need to get right to the devastating bridge collapse in Baltimore, Maryland. Tonight, dive teams have been executing recovery operations for the 6 missing construction workers who were on the Key Bridge when it collapsed early Tuesday morning. Yesterday, crews found and rescued 2 workers early on, but Coast Guard officials tell us the others are presumed dead. Recovery operations are still underway, and Michael Yoshida joining us right now with the latest. Michael.
Less than ideal conditions for the recovery crews here in Baltimore. The Maryland's governor even going as far as to say that it's treacherous conditions for the dive teams that were in the water this morning. All of this effort being complicated by this rain and wind as the investigation amps up into figuring out what exactly caused this crash and collapse.
Video shows the moment the cargo ship slammed into Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge, causing it to collapse into the Patapsco River after it lost engine and electrical power. 6 members of a road crew working on the bridge at the time of the accident. Divers back in the water Wednesday, working to recover the bodies of those victims.
That work is already dangerous, but will be even more so today with the expected rain, the choppy waters, and we all know about the debris and other things that they'll be dealing with.
Among the victims, Maynor Yasir Suaso Sandoval. A family member tells CNN the married father of 2 from Honduras had been in the U.S. for 18 years and started his own maintenance company. Also identified Miguel Luna. The immigrant from El Salvador is married with 3 children and lived in Maryland for 19 years. Governor Westmore issuing a promise to all the victims' families as the operation turned from rescue to recovery.
I will exhaust all options to be able to bring them a sense of closure.
Also calling for full examination of the crash.
There needs to be accountability to make sure that these things do not happen again, and that we have the systems in place to make sure that they don't.
The Port of Baltimore remains closed. More than 1,000 members of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers are expected to assist in debris removal to get a shipping channel open.
We'll have to figure out how we're going to wrap our arms around that community, those workers, those families who depend on the port.
And the NTSB says it plans on speaking with the ship's crew today. Also, investigators have got a key piece of evidence in their hands, the data recorder, basically the black box for that ship, now being analyzed at a lab, all part of the process to try and figure out what exactly led to that ship going off course and eventually causing this tragic collapse. In Baltimore, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
Thank you so much, Michael. In breaking news, 2 bodies have been discovered in the river. We will keep you updated later tonight as more info comes in.
And this tragedy puts renewed focus on infrastructure-related concerns nationwide. That includes Northeast Wisconsin, where Great Lakes shipping season started last week. More than 200 ships go through the Port of Green Bay annually while transporting 2 million tons of cargo. Port of Green Bay officials say safety procedures are set in case of accident, with the goal being to prevent a crash from turning into something catastrophic. In 2017, a cargo ship struck the Green Bay city deck while trying to get through the Main Street Bridge. No injuries were reported in that incident. And with that said, Lauren, how's the weather doing this week?
Currently, we're at a comfortable 60 degrees. We will see some clouds across the area, isolated showers. Now, anytime we see those systems roll into North Texas, you will notice some hail coming in. That's something to check up on. Across the board, you'll see Fort Worth 64, Dallas 63, 61 out east in Longview. Those cool mornings are back here in Texas. A cool 46 in Fort Worth, 46 in Dallas, Athens 47. That's something we can expect to see in this first part of spring in Texas. Later into the evening, we may see some precipitation, 50% at 62, 45, at 8 p.m. A little bit cooler at 10 at 54 degrees. We will have that Easter schedule for you, that Easter weekend, including those rain chances and that 7-day forecast coming up. Izzy?
Thank you so much, Lauren. On Tuesday, a federal appeals court ruled controversial Texas immigration law SB 4 will remain blocked while legal changes play out. The court is considering whether the law violates the U.S. Constitution. The law lets states officials arrest, detain, and deport people they believe entered the U.S. illegally. Last week, the Supreme Court cleared the way for the law to take effect, but just hours later, the appeals court panel blocked enforcement of the law. It's all a part of the ongoing battle between Texas and the Biden administration over border policy and the flow of migrants into the U.S. The appeals court will hear arguments on April 3rd as it considers whether the injunction will be upheld. Also at the border, Governor Greg Abbott deployed 200 additional National Guard troops to El Paso Tuesday as a part of the Operation Lone Star. There has been a recent rash of incidents with migrants along the border with Mexico. According to the Department of Public Safety, several migrants breached a fence last week and clashed with members of the National Guard. And over the weekend, officials say some migrants were cutting the razor wire that was put in place by Texas officials.
A mother is pleading for justice in the double murder of 2 teens. Dallas police say Kamari Smith Capps and Carmen Stacy were shot and killed Friday night at a convenience store parking lot off of Dixon Avenue in Dallas. Investigators found Stacy on the ground, Capps in the driver's seat of that vehicle. Kamari's mother pleading to find the killer hiding in the shadows. Fears forcing her not to share her name or her face. We understand a joint funeral will be happening for the 2 teens who were best friends. That is expected next week.
What a tragedy. Work is underway in Uvalde at the site of what will be a new elementary school. This project, of course, stems from the tragedy at Robb Elementary in May 2022. The Uvalde CISD Moving Forward Foundation is creating the new campus, working alongside the architectural firm Huckabee to design the school that will meet the needs of the community with the latest in safety.
We are on track. We are so grateful for S&P to be our contractor. They've been doing great work to keep everybody safe, to keep everything on track, and so far to keep it on budget.
On Tuesday, the foundation received a $1 million donation, but there's still $20 million that needs to be raised for this project. Although ground was broken in October, just a few months later in December, it was announced there was a delay in the construction. As for the demolition of Robb Elementary, district officials are waiting on clearance from the Uvalde County DA to move forward.
Protesters rallied outside the Supreme Court Tuesday as the justices heard arguments about access to mifepristone. That medication is part of the regimen used for medically induced abortions. The plaintiffs and their supporters argue that the FDA broke the law by letting patients getting it through telehealth and the mail. If the High Court agrees, access to mifepristone might be limited.
The court very clearly left it to the states to determine whether abortion would be permitted and under what circumstances. Each state, regardless of where they stand on this issue, each state has a sovereign interest in deciding that issue for itself and in compliance with the wishes of the people of that state. Abortion is one of those public policy areas that the court has very clearly said resides in the states.
Last year, 63% of terminated pregnancies in the U.S. were performed with this method, according to the Guttmacher Institute. Legal observers said it appeared the majority of the Supreme Court justices were skeptical about restricting access to the widely used abortion drug. A decision from the High Court is expected in June. Yesterday, Attorney General Ken Paxton reached a deal with the prosecutors to drop his security fraud charges. In exchange, he must pay $271,000 in restitution from his personal accounts, perform community service, and take legal education classes. The deal comes just weeks before he was set to stand trial on the charges filed nearly 9 years ago, where he was accused of failing to tell potential investors he was being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to promote a tech startup stock. Special prosecutors will track Paxton for the next 18 months to make sure he is keeping up his end of the deal. Up next, we have an update on a little girl from Houston who was found in a pool pipe. Plus, the latest following a terrorist attack from Russia. That and more national headlines next.
Jason, let's go see your room.
That's not right. How is it? Is it good?
you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own, a place that I call home, this place that I call home.
Owen, when you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
We didn't know what the future would hold, but we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
I am so glad you ladies are here. You each have your own rooms.
Thank you.
Is it okay to call you Mom?
Of course you can.
An update on a tragic story out of Houston about an 8-year-old girl who drowned in a hotel pool after going missing last Saturday. Authorities say she was sucked into an apparent malfunctioning pipe. A Houston Health Department investigation reportedly found multiple violations. An official with a nonprofit search and rescue group says the child was likely sucked into the pipe as a result of it pulling water in, instead of pushing water out. A fire department crew needed about 13 hours to recover the girl's body. The pool has been temporarily shut down.
London's High Court has paused extradition processings for the WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. In a ruling on Tuesday, the court gave the U.S. 3 weeks to make assurances concerning Assange's First Amendment rights and to confirm he would not receive the death penalty. CNN's Nada Bashir joining us. What exactly does this ruling mean?
Well, this ruling potentially offers Julian Assange an extraordinary lifeline in what has been a years-long battle. It had been anticipated that today's ruling would decide whether or not Assange had exhausted all avenues to lodge an appeal within the British courts, but instead the decision comes with a little more nuance and, crucially, more of a delay to his potential extradition. Now, the High Court in London on Tuesday ruled that the WikiLeaks founder cannot be immediately extradited to the United States. Instead, American authorities must first offer assurances about his treatment, including over his First Amendment rights and protection from the death penalty. Now, they've been given 3 weeks to do so. If the US fails to give these assurances, Assange would be allowed to appeal his extradition at a further hearing in May. If, however, the US does provide the requested assurances, there will be a further hearing to decide if those assurances are satisfactory and to make a final decision on leave to appeal. Now, in the event that the appeal is denied, Assange's legal team has also vowed to appeal to the European Court of Human Rights, which could also halt his removal to the US. This is a battle which Assange has fought for the last 5 years from London's Belmarsh prison, and of course for 7 years before that, while being hauled up as a political refugee at the Ecuadorian embassy in London. He is, of course, being pursued by the US authorities for what they say is the endangerment of lives by publishing confidential military records supplied by former Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning in 2010 and 2011. Speaking outside the High Court, Assange's wife, Stella, described her husband as a political prisoner and also called on the Biden administration to drop the case entirely. Nada Bashir, CNN in London.
Thank you so much, Nada.
Donald Trump's first criminal trial is set to start April 15th. A judge set the date Monday after dismissing Trump's motion to toss out the indictment altogether or delay the trial further. The former president attended Monday's hearing where he is charged of 34 counts of falsifying business records related to his reimbursements to his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, for hush money payments to Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. Trump will also have to watch what he says about the trial after the judge placed a gag order on Tuesday. Trump has denied the affair and pleaded not guilty in the criminal trial. During a campaign rally Tuesday, Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced Silicon Valley attorney and entrepreneur Nicole Shanahan as his vice presidential pick. The 38-year-old first-time candidate enters the race largely unknown to the public outside of tech circles. Shanahan was an early supporter of Kennedy's presidential bid, backing him last year while he was still running in the Democratic primary. There has been speculation that the Bay Area tech veteran could reach into their own pocket to continue aiding the Kennedy campaign.
Tensions are rising between the U.S. and Israel over the plight of civilians in Gaza. Now that divide is showing up in public ways. The rift is widening because the U.S. wants a ceasefire to protect civilians. The Israeli defense minister is taking home that message after visiting Washington this week. Today, another sign of the rift after Prime Minister Benjamin canceled his visit to Washington. Netanyahu says he canceled because the U.S. abstained from a UN ceasefire resolution vote. Now, the U.S. is going further and backing it.
Officials say in Russia, Friday's terror attack at a concert hall near Moscow has killed 133 people, and they expect the death toll to go even higher. CNN Chief Global Affairs correspondent Matthew Chance has returned to Russia and joins us now for more. Matt?
Well, I can tell you I've come back to a country that is shocked by what's happened over the past couple of days. The number of confirmed dead in the attack on the Crocus City Hall has now risen to more than 130 people, according to official figures. All day, mourners have been laying flowers outside the burned-out building near Moscow, while inside, emergency teams continuing to sift through the debris say they expect to find more bodies, and with more than 140 people injured, the death toll is expected to rise. In a nationwide security operation, investigators say at least 11 people have already been detained, including the 4 gunmen suspected of carrying out the mass shooting on Friday night. State media has been broadcasting grisly images of some of the men tied up and blooded, being manhandled and interrogated. One suspect, speaking broken Russian, is shown allegedly confessing to carrying out the attacks in the Crocus City Hall for money. Well, ISIS has claimed responsibility for the assault, posting images of what they say are the attackers with their faces covered. The terror group says the attack was a normal part of its war against countries fighting Islam. US officials say they have no reason to doubt the ISIS claim. But the Russian President, Vladimir Putin, who's been vowing revenge for what he calls a barbaric act, has attempted to link the attack to Ukraine, saying preliminary data suggests the gunmen were attempting to escape there across what is an extremely militarily, heavily militarized border. That's something Ukrainian officials strongly deny. One senior official there telling CNN that the Kremlin is trying to implicate Ukraine to rally domestic support here for its brutal war and to provide an excuse for ramping up attacks on Ukrainian towns and cities. Matthew Chance, CNN in St. Petersburg.
Thank you, Matthew.
Next at 6 with the total solar eclipse less than 2 weeks away, we have details on how this event will impact the Texas economy. Plus, did someone just wake up a billionaire? We'll tell you all about it next.
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right. How is it? Is it good?
How you doing?
Hey, Mason. Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own, a place that I call home, this place that I call home.
Life is about to change dramatically for one lucky person who bought a winning Mega Millions ticket in Monmouth County, New Jersey. According to the lottery, one ticket won an estimated $1.13 billion jackpot. That is the 5th largest grand prize in the game's history, and the lottery said the ticket holder could opt for the full jackpot in annual payments or take an estimated $537.5 million lump sum payment. This is the first Mega Millions jackpot winner this year. You still have another chance to win this week. Win big tonight's Powerball drawing offers an estimated $865 million jackpot, which would be the 5th largest game in that game's history.
Right now, Texas businesses are preparing for a flood of visitors ahead of the solar eclipse. Our guests are expected to dramatically boost the state's economy. Now, the estimated economic impact of the solar eclipse in total is nearly $1.4 billion. Nearly $500 million of that amount is just for the Dallas-Plano-Irving area. Now, on eclipse day, cities could see up to 3 times the amount of people due to all of the visitors. And while we're all gazing up at the sky, how's that weather looking, Lauren?
Right now we're at a moderate 60 degrees. We will see some overcast and possible isolated showers across the area. Now with those showers, there's always the possibility of small hail, something to look out for. Across Northeast Texas, you'll see 64 in Fort Worth, 63 in Dallas, 61 out in Longview. Those cooler mornings are back here in North Texas. 46 in Fort Worth, 46 in Dallas. Now that's not going to stay that way. It's going to warm up as we progress into the afternoon and later into the evening. We do have a chance of precipitation later this evening, 50% at 62, 45% at 8, before it clears out with a 56-degree temperature at 9. Tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, it may warm up. 78 for the high on Friday. We may see some wind, but no precipitation is expected at that time. You'll see some sun on Saturday before Sunday. Perfect temperature for those Easter egg hunts. 65 at 7 before it warms up into the afternoon and into the evening. Again, perfect to be outside. We will miss the precipitation this weekend. We will be graced with those nice temperatures. However, up north, they will see some showers. Chicago, light rain. Denver, possibly some snow and ice. Looking at those highs across the United States, they're pretty much what we expect this time of year. Dallas, 82, up north, 44 this Easter. Looking at the next 7 days, the weekend is going to be comfortable. It'll continue Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We'll see some shifts in those temperatures. 64 degrees on Tuesday, a little bit cooler at 65 on Wednesday.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Major executive decisions made at Boeing that could impact the production of the popular airplane model.
Plus, Dollar Tree is raising its prices. We'll tell you how much and why Dollar Tree stores are closing down nationwide.
Owen, when you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
We didn't know what the future would hold, but we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
I am so glad you ladies are here. You each have your own rooms.
Thank you.
Go.
Is it okay to call you Mom?
Of course you can.
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right. How was it? Is it good?
All right, welcome back. Dollar Tree is raising the maximum price on store items from $5 to $7. CEO Rick Dreiling shared the change in an earnings call earlier this month. He said the price increase is due to a wealthier customer base. Dreiling says the retailer's fastest growing demographic is people who earn at least $125,000 a year. 3 years ago, the company raised the base price of its items to $1.25. This past June, it set a new cap at $5. Dollar Tree reported a net loss of more than $1.7 billion in the quarter ending February 3rd. In response, it announced plans to close nearly 1,000 stores.
Boeing CEO Dave Sholin said Monday he plans to step down by the end of the year. Boeing's chairman and head of the commercial airline unit are also leaving. Boeing has been hit by more than 5 years of problems with its planes, including 2 crashes of the 737 MAX in 2018 and 2019 that killed hundreds of people. And as most of you know, recently a door plug blew out of the side of that Alaska Airlines flight in January, leaving a gaping hole in the side of the plane. The problems have led to multiple groundings for safety issues and more than $31 billion in losses.
Hopefully you didn't miss Lauren's forecast because Easter is almost upon us, which means a lot of colorful eggs are heading your way. After the break, we'll tell you how these eggs are made and more. Next.
How you doing?
Hey, Mason. Hey, Mason.
Thank you.
A place to make my own, a place that I call home, this place that I call home.
Owen, when you came into my life, it was a whirlwind.
I just can't do it.
We didn't know what the future would hold, but we knew you would always be a part of it. Adopting you was the best decision in our life. And I am so proud to call you my son.
I am so glad you ladies are here. You each have your own rooms.
Thank you.
Good.
Is it okay to call you Mom?
Of course you can.
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right. How was it? Is it good?
Soldiers stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas will soon be living and training in highly innovative barracks. They're being constructed using 3D printing. The 3 barracks will have 36 bunk beds and will be able to house up to 72 soldiers. However, they will initially be used as a collective training barracks. But at more than 5,700 square feet, the Defense Department says that they are also the largest 3D printed structure in the Western Hemisphere. The tech company behind the construction icon says the material being used is designed to withstand extreme weather while also enhancing energy efficiency. The barracks are slated to open later this summer.
They're round, colorful, and synonymous with Easter. Brightly colored Easter eggs are a holiday staple, and dyeing them is an age-old tradition. Workers at one of the oldest egg dyeing factories in Germany are showing us how it's done. The machines at this chicken farm run around the clock in the days leading up to Easter. The factory boils and dyes up to 800,000 eggs every day. The demand is so high, in fact, that the factory has to hire seasonal workers just to keep up. And they're not the only ones working hard. The farm also has about 120,000 hens that lay almost 1 egg a day. The eggs are then loaded into an egg store before the food coloring is added. Workers then seal them up while they're hot, which gives them a longer shelf life. Coming up in our breaking news section, we have now learned that 2 bodies have been pulled out of the river. We'll keep you updated as more information comes in tonight.
Thank you so much for tuning in for the news feed at 6. I'm John Patterson.
I'm Isabel Price, and we'll see you back here at Friday at noon.